Side hustles, what I learned in the beginning of my career, should only be the mentality applied to making your initial money.
Yeah, 100%.
Once you
I agree.
go from hustle mode, you need to go to boss mode.
Yeah.
What is boss mode? A person that is building long-term sustainable businesses. You cannot build long-term scalable businesses by having to force cram and force feed ads in order for your business to survive. It won't work that way. It's too annoying. It's too stressful. I don't want to rely on Zuck's algos and on Zuck's tracking in order for me to make money.
Yeah.
Why? Because as soon as Apple comes around and says, you're tracking, we're canceling that shit. Now Facebook goes to shit, right? So you can't be dependent on one single avenue. It's not going to work. So people need to start shifting their mindset. Once you have your first 100K, dude, your mindset should shift from hustle to boss.
What are the biggest mistakes they tend to make?
They don't learn the fundamentals. It's so easy, bro. It's so easy to bank money. You know this. Online, anybody can go out and make 10 grand a month, literally. Yeah. But who learns taxes? Who learns budgeting? Who learns human resources? Who learns product and inventory management? Who learns scaling an operation? Who learns systems building? Nobody learns those things because they're the boring parts of the business. And if you don't learn them, you're going to crash. The last thing you want to be is a person that pumps cash but has no ability to retain it.
Yeah.
You don't want to be that guy. If you don't understand how to file taxes, if you don't understand how to budget your business. I was talking with a guy in Singapore. He's the son of the former president of Singapore, probably worth a couple $1 billion. He's in real estate development. He's done over 2,500 real estate development projects in Singapore. Super big guy. And
the property prices there are
crazy. So he's like proper balling. So I was having a conversation with him, and he's like, you know what the biggest issue is between the elite and people that make no money? I'm like, what? Financial literacy. He said, most people are financially illiterate, and it's a language. I'm like, what do you mean it's a language? He's like, yes, finance is the language of the elite. Just like Latin used to be the language prior to the peasants being able to have access to read the Bible, they would have to go to the elite, the popes, the deacon of the church, or whoever was in charge, in order to get what? In order to get the wisdom, because they couldn't read. Nowadays, most people are financially illiterate. And it's in that financial lack of literacy that people get fucked.
Yeah.
Why do you need a lawyer? Because you don't know the law.
Yeah.
Why do you need a tax attorney? Because you don't know tax. Yeah, you don't need to know all of it. But if you don't know the basics, anybody can finesse you. And I think that's the biggest issue up and coming entrepreneurs and even developed entrepreneurs make and end up getting screwed on, is they have not developed financial literacy because it's not sexy. I think it's about the information that you have and about the level of conviction, because you have to be convicted about something, right? You have to put your chips on the table about something. And the last thing you want to do is live the what if game. I can always make more money, right? I by no means am I advocating, hey, if you have $5,000 in the bank, go put all of your money in crypto. No, go learn how to make money. Go learn how to develop cash flow. Go learn how to build a business. I had enough money whereby if I lost that money in crypto, I knew I was going to make it again. But it was a bet I was willing to take. And I took the bet and it worked. And I realized that if I lost that bet, I was okay too. Why? Because I developed the skills to build and scale digital businesses. So it wasn't a confidence on the decision. It was a confidence in my ability to make decisions.
Yeah.
Based off of the skills that I had developed.
Yeah.
And if the decision doesn't play out, that's okay, because I have developed the skills and I have trust in who? Myself. I'm going to fuck up, but it's all a game of probabilities. It's not a game of luck. And you have to increase your probabilities by increasing your skill set. And that's what a lot of people don't do. They don't work and they don't increase their skill set. Leonardo da Vinci famously said, God will sell you anything at the price of labor. And that is true. So what you have to do is, if you want something, you have to work for it. And most people that think that the world is based off of luck have never truly worked for something. Not enough to understand that luck does not exist. It's merely a game of probabilities. You work hard, you work more, you work longer, and eventually you can increase your odds of success. Your mind is programmable. The question is, who will program it? Will you program your mind? Or will your mind be programmed by other men, by circumstances around you? Weak men think that the circumstances that are around them are created by chance, right? That it's just random, it's accidental, it's an accident. But then you have the people that understand that circumstances are created. They don't just occur, they are created. That you then have the ability to create the circumstances in the life that you want. So if you're currently living in circumstances that are not ideal for you, create the circumstances that you want. I can? Yes, you can. But you have to believe that it's possible, right? So understanding that it's possible by doing what? Reprogramming your mind. The Bible says it. Be transformed by what? The renewal of your mind. Right? The Bible says it. Be transformed. So transform who you are by renewing your mind. Sometimes you have to hit reset on the computer. Sometimes you have to hit update. But people are running on the same trains of thoughts and the same information that gave them the problems in the first place. No wonder you're fucked up. You're not learning new data sets. You're not learning new information. You're not becoming a new person. Believe and you will achieve. The thing that I learned when I started making my money was, I was saying it to some buddies today, I said, my big epiphany, my big humbling moment was I was a poor guy with money. And what I meant by that was my mental framework was the mental framework that I was brought in, which is you need to hustle, you need to work, you need to get a job. And I was taking that same philosophy, but just as a self-employed individual, because if I stopped working, the money would stop coming.
That's the realization I had. Like, the money is good, but that's only if I'm pumping out the content on all the platforms. What happens if I stop making content?
And that's where working on the business and building a garden that is kind of self-sustaining, because you have different aspects to it that cross-pollinate comes in. So you build a loyal following, whatever, if it's a product, if it's a clothing line, if it's a subscription, whatever it may be, it applies for a plethora of niches. You work on it. Take Gymshark, for example. Gymshark is a business. They're not a clothing line. They're a business. They have a loyal fan base, but they have what? Pop-up events. They have their clothing lines.
Yeah, they just opened a store in London now.
Literally, bro. They have an entire ecosystem. And it's in that ecosystem that you no longer have to be present in order for money to flow.
Do you think maybe what holds a lot of people back is just like the limiting belief? Because they're probably listening to this and they're thinking like, I can't do this.
So let's evaluate. Why do you limit your beliefs? I'll tell you why you limit your beliefs. You limit your beliefs because you don't trust yourself. Why don't you trust yourself? Because every time you tell yourself that you're going to do something, you break your own promise. If you can't trust yourself as an autonomous individual, no wonder you're not going to advance in life. Dude, if I told you every single day, right, and we were gym buddies, if I told you every single day that we were going to go to the gym and I didn't show up, but you showed up, right? Or you said, hey, are we going to the gym? Like your body tells you, hey, we need to go to the gym, or how your friends tell you, hey, we got to go work out. If you told me 10 days in a row and I committed, hey, we're going to the gym, but then the morning came around and you came out of the room and I was there eating chips and watching Netflix and I didn't go to the gym with you, on the 10th day, would you believe me?
Yeah, not a chance.
Would you trust me?
No, yeah.
So the problem is most people don't trust themselves. And the reason they don't trust themselves is because they are in auto self-sabotage mode 24/7. Everything that they do, they're sabotaging themselves. No wonder you can't trust yourself. No wonder you don't have any courage. No wonder you think you're going to fail, is because your mind is literally telling you, dude, I can't trust you. I can't trust you. So you need to start on the small wins. Start focusing on the small wins. Get groomed. Clean your room. Start hanging out with good people. Read a chapter in a book and say, I'm going to read a chapter, and you sit down and you read it, right? I'm going to read this news article, and you sit down and you read it. I'm going to eat good food and not bad food, and you do it, and you start building trust with yourself. Trust, reputation, rapport. And then you realize, wow, I can actually do anything that I want because I trust myself to do it. So learn how to trust yourself by doing the small things right. And how you do the small things is how you do the big things. So focus on the small things. Focus on laying down the bricks. And soon, when you zoom out, you'll have a wall of China that'll be so big beyond comprehension, people won't be able to even understand what was built. It's because every brick that you laid was done with perfection. Small things. Now, the working class hasn't changed ever since this idea of peasant was established, which was during feudalism, right? The peasants were the working class that the feudal lords would basically let them work on the field to feed themselves, and the rest would go into storage or be sold. Basically what happens today. You go, you work, you get a little bit to feed yourself, right? And then you're in a situation where you have to give back to the king through taxes, right? So you're left with half. And then you have debt, and then you have inflation, right? So you barely meet paycheck. 70% of Americans live paycheck to paycheck, or in fact are even in debt. So now you're in a situation whereby the system is attacking you 24/7. You're like, whoa, is this by design, or is this just how it's supposed to be? And then you realize that the system is created by people, and people create the system with rules. But everything that is man-made can be broken, just like hacking into a website. People hack into the rules, hack into the laws. You don't think there's lawyers out here, judges out here passing policy that is convenient for them? Think this is heaven? No, it's not. It's the real world. People cheat on a Monopoly board. You don't think they're going to cheat in the real life when there's billions and trillions of dollars on the line? What type of reality do you live in, peasant? Because you don't understand how the game is played. You are sitting where you deserve to be. So if you want to level up, you want to understand how the world works, you can't do the things that peasants do. You can't do the things that the working class does. The working class was illiterate. The working class ate unhealthy. The working class was unsanitary. The working class focused so much on working that they couldn't focus on leveling up. So I think you can transition, but it's good to have a reality check of where you currently stand. Because the first step to solving a problem is realizing that there is one. And most people aren't willing to realize that they've been fooled their entire life because they feel stupid. So Mark Twain says it's easier to lie to somebody than to convince them that they've been lied to. And that's because there's ego. So get your ego out of the way, become a student of life, and level up the video game character. It's pretty straightforward, G.
I often tell people that every man needs 3 relationships in their life. In order for you to have balanced life as a man, you need 3 relationships. First, you need a mentor. Somebody that has gone the path that you want to go, that can instruct you and take you down the road, avoiding the pitfalls and avoiding the mistakes and avoiding the troubles that come that way. You need a peer, somebody that is at your level, at your equal, that you can mastermind with, that you can build a think tank, that you can go back and forth and discuss and argue and develop business. And then you need a mentee, whether it's your young brother or somebody that you bring into your business or an employee, somebody that you pour yourself into. Why? Because those people keep you accountable. Those people are the ones that check you. You know, you often have your little sibling, he'll ask you questions and he'll check you with authenticity and honesty and ask you shit. You're like, oh, whoa, like this kid's paying attention, right? Yeah. So every man in his life needs 3 relationships. And under those 3 relationships, Capital Code's been built. Mentors, peers, and mentees.
But what I will say is, going back to this idea of identity, is that think about how much of your identity isn't actually you. When you were born, you were given a nationality, you were given a name, you're given a religion, you were given a color, you're given a social security number, a passport number, your stock number, right? You're given your numerical human resource. This is your expendable character. And you were thrown off to the first programming camp, kindergarten, right? Where you were told to stand in line under the fluorescent lights. You couldn't raise your hands. You were told when you had to pee. You weren't allowed to be a child and play. And therefore, you were a failure and you were left behind if you didn't adapt into the system really quickly. You weren't able to graduate into the next degree, which is very interesting. And then you go into elementary school, after your brain leaves that theta state of programming. And you start to realize that all these kids are being programmed by other people that have selfish intentions. And that you have to deal with that programming that you've gone through yourself and understand that the origin of the content that you consume may have ulterior motives. And you have to be able to explore them and be okay with changing your philosophy and your worldview and your lane if you perceive that you have been fooled.
Your goal is to not have to worry about money. Whatever way you achieve that, whether your parents give you the money, whether you make your own money like we did, whether you fundraise, whatever it is, right? You need to be able to not worry about money so that you can focus on building, not hustling, dude. Hustling is cool when you're a brokey. Yeah. But when you have money, dude, the hustle mentality is going to keep you behind. People tell me, Luke, how much money do you make in a day? I don't calculate money by day. I calculate money by hour.
How much do you make per hour?
How much my hour is valued at 2,500 to 20,000, depends on the day. That's what I value my hour at.
Yeah.
So I will not touch a task under.
So this hour is worth $25,000.
At a minimum. For example, if you want to make $1 million a year, right, which is you should be your base goal, because nowadays your real $1 million is $3 million, based off of inflation, based off of the bullshit, based off of the amount of money that's being printed. Potentially. So you're in a situation where now you have a little bit of money. You got to be operating differently, dude. People need to be focused on elevating themselves. And the way that you do it is when money is no longer your main focus. Your focus is building.
Just because you're busy doesn't mean you're productive.
True.
I can see a lot of entrepreneurs, see how they conduct their daily lives, look at their daily habits and realize if they're going to be successful or not. Why? Because the allocation of time, which is one of the resources that you have, the allocation of energy, another resource that you have, and the allocation of attention, another resource that you have, are dispersed, and they are dispersed everywhere. There is no sort of focused attention towards an objective. So everybody that says, oh no, I'm working hard, I keep trying, I'm always educating myself, I'm investing my time wisely. If you actually evaluate these people's lives, you would realize that it's bullshit. Because most people waste time, they waste energy, and they waste attention. But if you could focus energy, time, and attention in the development of your character, in the development of your relationships, in the development of money-making skills, there's skills that help you make money. Making money is a skill. If you don't make money, you have not developed the skill of making money. And for you to consider that you have is a lie. So if you look at your bank account and your bank account reflects X amount of balance, it's a direct correlation on your level of skill when it comes to making money.
That's how I got started my entrepreneurial journey. I helped a company in Wall Street with Facebook ads, right? And I did it for free for 2 months. Free service, doubled the revenue with Facebook ads. After the 2 months, I called them like, hey, I want a contract. Like, I want a contract. They're like, okay, we'll talk about it next month. The next day, I turned off their ads. The next day, they called me, fly up to New York.
Yeah.
They gave me, I think, a $6,000, $7,000 a month retainer, right? So that's the entire premise, is you need to be able to provide value ahead of time, and you can get into the rooms. Consider money butterflies for the sake of the illustration, right? So let's say you want to catch butterflies. Butterflies equate to dollars. There's 2 ways that you can gather butterflies. The first way is build a net, right? Build a massive net. It doesn't matter how optimized the net is. It doesn't matter how sophisticated it is. You always have to swing in order to catch butterflies. That's most people hustling, right? They have to clock in, they have to post, they have to sell a promo in order for them to make money, in order for them to catch butterflies. That is not efficient. That is hustling. Why? That's where most people start, but you need to develop a second skill set, which is how to attract butterflies. How do you attract butterflies? By building a garden. Now, it might sound like a foo-foo concept, but if you build a garden, that means you need to build an ecosystem. You're building an ecosystem. Now your goal is to figure out how to make it all congruent and how to make sure people buy into that ecosystem and they don't leave to other gardens. You look at Amazon, that's a fucking garden, bro. That's a self-sustaining garden. They run, it's not just the Amazon platform. They run a plethora of platforms. Amazon AWS, IMDb, they have the Amazon Prime, ebooks. It's an ecosystem of what? Attracting money. So the concept of going from hustle to boss is, instead of working in your business and catching the butterflies, once you have enough, is working on your business, which is kind of what I've been mastering, which is how to build and scale digital businesses.
And at the age of 16, I was tired, just saturated with this bullshit of working a job, following the career path that you were meant to follow. Because I realized one thing, bro. I realized all these people that are giving me advice, do I want to live the life that they live? And when the answer was no, then I wouldn't listen to them. So when my parents said, hey, you should do this, you should go to this university, you should go to this location, you should hang out with these people, you shouldn't say this or you shouldn't do that. And then I evaluated the outcome of their life. As much as I love them, I was like, well, I don't want the life that my parents have. I want a different life. Therefore, I have to achieve different things and I have to input different results. And I have to do different kind of measurements of business if I want to elevate. I can't be doing what my parents do. If my parents are doing 50K, 100K a month, I can't be capped by that mindset. I can't be capped by that information.
You need to know what money is, right? What is money? Right now, pause the video. What is money? Define it. Most of you guys could not literally define what money is. Oh, well, money is a store of value. Or, well, money is power. No, no. These are things that money can give you, or attributes of money. But what is money by definition? Who can create it? How much can they create? What gives them the authority, right? All these things, you need to learn them. You need to learn them. Why? Because if you're going to pursue money, you better understand that which you're pursuing. Most of you guys don't have money because you don't understand anything about money. And you don't know what money is. Therefore, money eludes you. But if you want to attract money, you must first understand what it is. Second is to understand that for every action, there's an equal and opposite reaction, right? And I talked about this, right? And it's the idea of Newton's third law. Newton's third law dictates that for every action, there's an equal and opposite reaction. This happens in the natural world, but it can also happen and apply itself in our life. So people want uphill, we talk about people wanting uphill results with downhill habits. You can't have that. You need to choose what you want to commit to, right? You're going to commit to a shitty life or a great life. But this idea that you can achieve certain results in your life without putting in the specific requirements of work, right, is impossible. So focus on the input, and life will give you in proportion that output. People want the output. People want the money. People want the cars. But nobody wants to put in the fucking work. Nobody wants to put in the hours. Nobody wants to train. Focus on the input and let the universe focus on the output, because by natural law, that will happen.
I mean, I'll give you an example because people always ask me how I met Andrew Tate, right? So I met him when he had 83,000 followers on IG. What had happened? He'd gotten banned, right? So I came in with my team. Hey, I got you. I got you taken covered.
What year was this? This was before the big ban.
Yeah, of course. So he'd gotten banned. Like, you know, he gets banned multiple times. It was a rough one, but I hit him up. Hey, I can get your account back within 24 hours, and I paid for it. Right, it cost me I think like $10,000. I paid for it. Took care of him.
He will. I can respect that.
Yeah, and it's just like, and I did it because I was like, okay, I fuck with this guy. I like what he's talking about. I didn't think he was going to be doing 3-5 billion views a week on social platforms. I didn't, but I wanted to be in connection with people that I respected, that people that I had synergy with. So I took care of him. Then that led to business opportunities with him, right? Then he got banned again. Who was there? Who was the first person that got the call? Me, right? So having direct access to individuals is directly correlated to your ability to supply their needs.
Solving rich people problems.